Go. Hey guys, this is Bruce. Welcome to ConvoCourses. And today on this podcast, I'm going to be focusing mostly on the GRC RoadMap, which I just released um, within the last week or so. And I want to invite you guys to it. But before we start on that, I've got a couple topics I wanted to address, a couple things we need to take care of here. First of all, next week, I think what we'll do is next week what we will do. Hold, give me a second here. Next week, okay. Anyway, next week, what we're gonna do is invite some folks onto this podcast. So if you are interested in jumping on, I'm gonna be putting that out. I want to know about like what you're doing in your career, what kinds of, what's been your journey, what what do you think are some challenges you face? Just, we're just gonna just talk openly. I think next week we'll do that, and I'm gonna put that out here real soon so I can get talk to people who are interested in jumping on here. No pressure, if you don't want to, if you don't feel up to it, you don't want to, you just don't want to do it. It's fine. But next week, I think what me and Larry talked about is like once a month we'll just invite people on and just talk about cybersecurity, have a conversation. Like that's what this whole channel is supposed to be about, a conversation between professionals or aspirants, people trying to get into this field, people just curious about it. And if you're wondering if this is your first time seeing me and wondering like what's going on here, we talk about cybersecurity and governance, risk management, and compliance, GRC. It's I've been doing this for a long time, and this career path is really taking care of me. I've jumped in and out of it in different capacities, sometimes doing a little bit more management type work, sometimes doing more technical cybersecurity analyst type work and engineering work. These days, I just recently got into cloud, so I'll be talking more about that. But the core of what I do has been governance, risk management, and compliance for the government, for the U.S. government. But I've done it for other in private sector as well. That's mainly what we talk about, but that doesn't mean we can't talk about other things. Somebody said looking into getting into a SOC analyst world. SOC is Security Operations Center, and that's something I have some experience with, and I actually have some folks and peers that have either done it or they're doing it right now. So if that's what you're interested in, that's another thing that we could talk about and give you some pointers on how to get into it, what to expect, what to do with it, areas that they need to focus on. That's mainly what we talk about. And today we will be talking about GRC RoadMap. For those who want to get into this and you're wondering, like, I'm in this career field or I'm currently doing mostly technical hands-on stuff. I want to get into more GRC stuff. How can I get into it? And the reason why it's been great for me is because it's allowed me to pivot in all these different areas. I've been able to do purely purely government management type positions. I've been able to switch and transition into more technical roles, or just stay on this middle path. It's just a really great way to pivot into and out of different areas so you can keep leveling up or just maintain what you've had, like I've been able to do throughout all of these different iterations of the economy. Different things happen right now. There's a U.S. government shutdown that's going to last probably for like a month or so. I've been through a couple of these before, so with the current administration, I've been through one or two with them. So with GRC, it's I'm in cybersecurity, so I'm one of those essential workers who are still working. So right now, knock on wood, I don't know what's going to happen in the next few weeks or months or whatever, but right, that I've been through this before, and as a GRC person, a lot of times you are counted as one of those people who are mission essential. Of course, it depends on your role and your job and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I haven't been without work, even through shutdowns, through different administrations, through economic downturns, through COVID. Like it's been rock solid for me. And so I want that for you. And that's the reason why I've done this channel. That's the reason why I promote GRC stuff, even though now I'm in cloud. It's a really solid GRC. It's a really solid career path that I would encourage you to get. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk about a couple things that were brought up on our group. Great conversations been happening there. If you're interested in continuing this conversation on, you want a deeper dive into this kind of stuff, you want to talk to me directly or the people in this community directly, go to ConvoCourses.com and hit join. Here's our site right here, ConvoCourses.com. There it is, right there. And you'll just go here, hit join. It's free to join and talk. Hit us up. And there's other stuff here that's free, other ways to get engaged in the community. But this is one of the best ways, which is to join us. First thing I wanted to talk about is something that came up in the group. Larry brought this one up. I thought this was great. And I think that Professor Black Ops talked about this. And actually, it's been mentioned a couple times on the channel about the Department of Defense's Chief Information Officer wanting to completely change up what's going on with Risk Management Framework or with GRC in GovTech. Right now, if you didn't know, what we use right now is something called Risk Management Framework. The DoD calls it DoD Risk Management Framework, Information Technology, and all it is a derivative of NIST 837 and 853, and it's a process by which they vet or certify that systems that they're using, they work properly, they have all the security features on them, they've been assessed, they make sure everything with that system is good, 100% good, before they deploy it and say, yep, it's good. That process takes a really long time. It's very exhaustive, especially in the government, and rightly so, because when all this stuff, when IT first got introduced many decades before I was even, in the picture, they would get hacked by kids. Like a kid could hack their network, right? Like in the beginning, like 90s, 80s, that movie War Games, as a matter of fact, is about a kid. It's based on a real story. I don't know how many people know this. There's this movie called War Games, and it's about the DoD getting hacked by a kid. I think he was 16 years old at the time. That guy's still around, by the way. He's a real smart dude and has a company and all kinds of stuff. But that guy, when he was a kid, hacked into this. I believe he went into the back end of modems by doing war dialing, which was something where you'd make a script and it would just dial all the numbers in a certain area code. It would just dial all those numbers until it got in to a system. Well, the Department of Defense and many other organizations in the government, the U.S. government, I'm sure around the world, they didn't have a formal way of putting security features on their system. So they had some security features, like you had the Rainbow series, and the Brits had a really good system. But it's mostly checkboxes. It's mostly like, okay, hey, did you do this? Did you make sure that people have to log in? All that kind of stuff. But they would miss things because it just wasn't very thorough. And because of that, kids were hacking into satellite systems. Kids were hacking into hacking. This is serious. This is real. This really happened. Look it up for yourself. So they figured out, okay, we need something better than what we have because this is not working. So they implemented things like Risk Management Framework, which evolved over time and got more and more thorough, more granular, getting all the way down to getting very technical, including all kinds of PhDs and engineers in there to figure out how we can make sure this system is tight. And recently, you've gotten into things like supply chain, like if you're an organization and you have databases and your databases have really important information on there, and that database consists of several different huge components, including the operating system that comes from Microsoft, or the SAN backend that comes from Brocade, and then the wires that come from all these different sources and third party suppliers that you're buying from to make this system work, right? What's happening is nation state hackers are attacking the third party organizations because they know they can't hit the Department of Defense. It's too strong. So they'll go and hit CrowdStrike. They'll go hit well, not CrowdStrike. That's a bad example. They'll go and hit all these different vendors that you use. They'll hit them, and then they'll get to you by going through the vendors they're using. That's what's happening now. But my point, going back to our point here, why it's so granular and takes so much time now is because this evolved over time. Like, this wasn't something somebody just woke up and said, okay, let's spend 8 months and $2.3 million to put all the security features in. It comes from being hacked over and over again in real world scenarios. These are exploits that happen in the wild in real time, and people stole monies, people lost their lives, people lost their jobs, people lost, money, income, resources, reputation, everything. This evolved over time. The reason why it's so robust is because they learned over time to get better and better. So that's in GovTech. Why we have it takes so much time to do it is because we've learned from the past. But what's happened is it's taken a longer time to do it. Like the 8 months that it takes to, I'm just giving you an example. It's not always 8 months. Sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's shorter, but relatively, like if you take an average, it's probably around 8 months that it takes to get a system within authority to operate, where you go through this whole process to get this new system to be used by the Department of Defense, and not just them, but other agencies as well in the U.S. government. They're very, very serious about security, and rightly so. Nobody's arguing against that, but it is taking a really long time, and that's kind of the problem. The answer to that recently, coming from the current administration, is something called a cybersecurity risk management construct. So let me kind of show that on the screen here, if I could. And here's kind of what they're talking about. And I kind of read through this to give an idea of what's going on. They're trying to make it faster, and to do that, they have a 5-phased framework, and they're calling it the cybersecurity risk management construct. And the meaning behind it is and this is coming directly from the CIO. This is what she said. The previous risk management framework was overly reliant on static checklists and manual processes that failed to account for operational needs and cyber survivability requirements. These limitations left defense systems vulnerable to sophisticated adversaries and slowed the delivery of the secure capabilities in the field. So I agree with part of this, what they said. This part right here, that is a limitation, that it is slow. The delivery is slow. I agree with that. It is too slow, and it's not keeping up with how fast paced everything's going right now. I agree with that part. I don't believe it's left things vulnerable. I wouldn't go that far. I would say people who don't follow the guidance, that definitely is on them. There are things that we can do to make this faster, but what they're recommended is this. And this is real, by the way. This is not just somebody coming up, it's not just some article. This is not this is serious. They're taking this very serious. And case in point, this is coming from the U.S. government site right here, the Department of War, the war.gov. War.gov. Here's their announcement saying that they want to move forward with this immediately, right? This administration does not, if they say they're going to do something, whether it's good, bad, or ugly, they do it immediately. And so that's what they're doing here. That's what you're seeing here on my screen. And it's the Department of War announces a new cybersecurity risk management construct. So I got to hand it to them. If they say they're going to do something, they do it. I don't, whether you agree with it or not, if they say, hey, we're going to fire all the nuclear scientists tomorrow, and you think it's a joke, and then they do it. These guys are messing around, man. If they're like, we don't have a good enough air traffic controllers, and then suddenly there's no air traffic controller. These guys aren't playing around, man. Okay, so anyway, I mean, I wish my side of the house would get shit done like this. These guys get shit done. I mean, I disagree with it, half the shit they do, but the one thing you cannot say is that they don't get shit done. So Department of War, they're saying they're announcing the implementation of, they're doing it right now. They're already thinking about doing this. Not thinking about it. They're already announcing it on their page, which means we're doing it. So cybersecurity risk management construct, transformative framework that delivers real-time defense at operational speed. 5-phase construct ensures that they harden, verifiable, continuously monitor, and actively defend environments to ensure the U.S. warfighter, blah, 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 blah. All right, let's get down to the phases. What are you talking about? There's a design phase, there's a build phase, there's a test phase, there's an onboarding phase, and an operational phase. So this sounds a lot like what we already have. Like, this to me sounds like on my first reading, I'm like, okay, this is the system development lifecycle. That's what this is. And so they're just emphasizing, I would say probably emphasizing more of the continuous monitoring piece, which I agree with. But they're kind of, is really the same thing. So if you didn't know, risk management framework is based off the system development lifecycle, which has these phases right here. So yeah, so far there's not really that much of a huge shift here that I'm seeing. See it, and anyway, let's go through a little bit more of this. So they're saying that it's grounded in 10 core principles: automation, driving efficiency and scale, critical controls, continuous monitoring, DevSecOps, cyber survivability, and training. This is mostly what we already have, right? Like, mostly this stuff is our stuff we already do. And what's sad is that we could really change. Things could really change. And I just feel like this is a marketing ploy so that they can say that they did something. And I hate that. I hate that. Because it really does need to evolve and change. Don't get me wrong, I'm a GRC guy, so I'm in GovTech, so I have to learn all this stuff. But I mean, I'll do it. But I feel like it's a little bit. What are they doing here? And then they're like, "Oh yeah, we're announcing it right now." And I thought maybe I was just crazy, but then I went to Reddit. I'm like, okay, what are the long beards at Reddit saying? You can count on Reddit to give you a really good perspective, good, bad, or ugly on things. So I go to Reddit, and it's some of the same things I'm thinking. If you some of the same things that I'm thinking to myself, I'm seeing people say on Reddit. Case in point, let's see. So go to Reddit, and they break down, and this is awesome. They found this 5-phase infographic here I'm looking at. If you go to I guess it's at the war.gov site, and let's see. They got that going on. And somebody said, remember when they said that they're going to blow up the risk management framework to show a new profit? They said it's funny how they mention blow up the risk management framework, but then they have the same steps as the risk management framework. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm feeling. Yeah, and then they go on the site exactly where it says this in the NIST 837, which is risk management framework. Another one, there was a couple really good ones in here. So somebody said, so this is just the risk management framework with different name. Yeah. Risk management framework is supposed to be continuous monitoring. You're supposed to tailor risk management framework to your system, not just copy and paste everything. Yes, that's right. That's right. So you don't have to do all the controls. Like, you only do what you need. That's how it's supposed to go. And somebody said at least one of the attendants is an AI. Yeah. Yeah, this is my first read when I read this for the first time. My first takeaway was, number one, it's very similar to what we're already doing. And number two, it's all fun and games until you have to actually implement security controls, because that's the part that takes a really long time. And that's the part that's really no joke. They're not, I don't see how. The one thing they could do to speed this up is if there was a way to make it so that implementation of security controls went faster. And that's the one. I mean, what comes to mind is how software developers do it, which is to have like a testing environment where you just stand up the stuff and then you test it and then you release parts of it in real time. But every system can't be like that, right? So I don't know how you get away from fundamental principles of design, the build phase, the test phase. This is already what we do. How do you get away from this stuff? Like, it's gonna have to happen the way it does. This is right here is the system development lifecycle and its risk management framework. So I don't know how you get away from. I don't know how you make that faster. You know, I don't know. Another thing that came to mind besides implementation of controls is how why didn't have they maybe I'm missing something. Why haven't they vetted this through the NIST, this all the NIST security control people? Like, this should go through the NIST, the NIST, like the NIST 800, the NIST 37, risk management framework, NIST cybersecurity framework. All of those frameworks, all the frameworks, they go through a whole peer-reviewed process, right? Like, you've got people at every level taking a look at it. You got PhDs from academia. You've got people in the real industry wonks that all they do is engineering. They're looking at it. It's getting peer reviewed in the public. Like, they post it on the internet and say, look, if you read through this, if you guys have problems with what we're saying here, point it out. And people do. It goes to a public forum, like open source. They put it out there and everybody can anybody on planet Earth can read it and look at the controls to see if they're off, or how they can make it better. And then after that, after the public looks at it, they take it back in, and then they're looking at all the stuff that the public has said. And then some of that stuff gets implemented in the NIST 837, in all these major frameworks. And that's how they develop. ISO 27001 goes through that process. I don't know about PCI DSS. I'm not super deep into that one, but ISO 27001 for sure does. Gets evaluated by an international body. NIST 837, NIST 53, NIST 853. That one also gets vetted by people all over the world, and all these different, coming from all different walks of life, to like really make sure it's sound. I'm not seeing that with the construct, and that concerns me. Maybe I'm wrong. I just seen this, so maybe it's coming from the NIST. I don't know. So I don't know. It's just announced. It's just a shame that it's already on the White House's page. That I don't get. Well, I get it. I mean, I think that they're just trying to, this is the usual thing that they do, which is kind of just shoot first and then aim later, and then pretend everything's good. That's kind of how they've been doing things. pretty reckless on a government website, in my personal opinion. So yeah, that was a great one. Thanks, Larry, for that one, man. I appreciate that. Larry posted that on our group on ConvoCourses, and he says a lot of what the White House is doing seems to be looking for ways to poke holes in frameworks and controls that already exist. Yeah, I get that, and we need change. Like, we need something that's rapid. We do need something that fits the current environment. We need something that's quick. We do. And so that's why I say it's a shame that we're rushing out something like this that doesn't seem to be going through the normal peer review process. And I could be wrong. Like, maybe magically this will be awesome. Like, maybe magically this won't I predict that whatever they're doing right now is just going to be built upon the NIST 837 and the NIST 853, and we're still going to use the same controls, and it still will take the same amount of time. That's my prediction, is that they're going to just dress up what is already exist, rename things, drop a couple controls, but it's still going to be the NIST 800. That's what I think. Until an engineering body who has authority comes in, or until another administration comes in who's smarter. I don't know how else to say that. Who could come in and say, look, we want to do this the right way. We've got some things to do. We got some work to do. Let's get to work and take this stuff seriously. Because this is our national security we're talking about. You just can't throw stuff out there. So, I don't know. Thanks, guys, for joining us. I appreciate you. Glad to be here today. Bruce is always glad. Hey, thank you so much. Thanks for joining. Somebody else says, doing great things. Thanks, Jose. I appreciate you, man. And then doesn't make much sense that a government heavily invested in tech growth and deregulation of the industry would seriously expound on a framework that looks to implement controls. Yeah, the thing is, at some point you got to implement those controls, and that's the thing that takes the longest time. There's just no way around it, whether you're checking boxes or not. Like, you've got to implement the controls. And that's the part, that it takes a long time to implement. It takes a while to assess. If there's a way to do that faster, that's what takes the longest time. And shit breaks. Like, you implement security controls and shit breaks, and then you got to fix it. And it's back to the drawing board. That's the part that takes a long time. There's technologies you can put forward, like cloud is a lot faster. I've noticed a lot faster with implementation of controls, because you can just stand stuff up. You can stand up an instance, break the hell out of it, blow it away, and then put another one up just like that. That would fix a lot of things, but everything can't be cloud. So yeah, I'll keep watching it. I'm hopeful that this stuff will turn out good, but it's just the way just some couple things kind of stand out to me. I was actually excited to see something new. I was excited that they're gonna, like, oh wow, they have something. They're implementing something new. Like, at first, we were having a live before, and somebody chimed in and mentioned that the CIO was, I can't remember if it was security expert or DR. One of you guys, somebody mentioned it, or maybe it was somebody from TikTok. They said, oh, the CIO is about the DOD CIO is about to blow away all risk management framework. And I was like, oh shit, like, I doubt it. Because you need some structure to actually implement the controls properly on a gigantic, massive enterprise like the DOD, like the federal space. So I'm like, there's no way they're going to get rid of it. All they'll do is replace it. And I was right. Yeah, they just replaced it. But the thing is, I was like, oh, they got something, a construct. Like, when Larry posted it and I read through it, and I'm like, okay, I'm reading through it. And I'm like, so basically they renamed the NIST 800 and risk management framework. They're renaming it, and they still haven't addressed how you're going to put those security controls in. There's no breakdown of that. So A lot of what the DoD, what the White House is doing is looking to poke holes. Yeah, right. Uh, yeah, I'm not sure. Security expert says PCI DSS is a self attestation process, which sucks because third parties are typically not involved in the compliance exercise. I hate self attestation compliance certification process because you're really trusting in people at that organization to be honest about their own cybersecurity posture, and we all know they will not 100% be honest about their security posture. The thing is, it's a conflict of interest because if they have already spent $3.5 million to get that thing stood up, and then something is seriously broken that could risk everything and then or cost another million, right? Like you really face those kinds of questions. And so having worked a little bit in retail, I noticed they're willing to take a risk. Those guys are not risk averse, man. They're not risk averse, man. They will take a risk. And so it's pretty dangerous. Yeah, I got to agree. That's pretty dangerous. Those guys will take a risk. And that might be why we have so many of these gigantic leaks of all of our data, because you've got self-attestation processes where they're supposed to be doing the right thing and they're not. And then suddenly there's a gigantic leak of a billion records, because we don't have sound. And it's just sad. But the thing is, our economy is it depends on that money, right? And we got to secure that information. Otherwise, what are we doing here? So yeah, that's a lot of conflict of interest right there. Okay, got a lot of stuff, a lot of comments on this. Nice. Oh, let me. I don't want to skip out on the folks on TikTok. Hold on a second. I'm interested in transitioning to a GRC role. Okay. Let me address that real quick. Let me cover a message from our sponsors here. Myself. All right, let me pay some bills. Okay, if you guys are interested in GRC RoadMap, this is something I've been working on for the last, I don't know, it's been a while, 8 months or so, and I've decided, you know what, it's time to just release this. It's not going to be perfect. This is a program. This is not just 7 hours of course. This is not just 200 videos to walk you through a GRC process that aligns itself with a real framework called the NIST CSF. Right here, for a limited time, what I'm going to do is personally go through to help you to create a GRC roadmap, a real GRC roadmap to take you from wherever you happen to be, meaning if you're in a whole nother industry, you're in a whole different career path, whatever, you go through this to learn it. I'm not telling you as soon as you do all this stuff, you're magically going to have a job. Okay. That's not what I'm not promising none of that. What I am promising you is that you will, if you go through this, you will understand what GRC is in a very real way. And I'm telling you from a perspective of somebody who's been doing it for 20 years and is still in this field, working with GRC people, doing some GRC stuff myself right now. So I'm telling you, this is how it is. And I'm showing you through a real standard called the NIST CSF. So if you're interested in this, go to ConvoCourses.com and then go to this site right here. Click on this button right here, the GRC roadmap, NIST CSF, this right here, and then see if this is something you want to do. I'm going to tell you right now, NIST CSF is not for everybody. Okay. It's not for everyone. There's certain people who are not going to like this. It might take too long for you to do it. There might be too many side quests you have to do, as in maybe if you are truly from a whole nother field, this is not entry level. You will have to learn things like a little bit of networking, basic security practices. You will have to learn things like difference between a server and a router. You will have to learn IT basics, fundamentals, and this doesn't take you on that side quest. That'll have to be something that you'll have to do on your own. That said, there are things that I'm walking you through that you will have to know for GRC. You will have to know them. So by the end of this course, you go through this whole course. What we're going to do is we're going to work on how can we tune your resume to include GRC things, governance, risk management, and compliance. You may have already done them. That's what I'm focusing on. Most of us have some type of exposure in GRC in one way, shape, or form, because GRC is not just GovTech. GRC is in retail, it's in manufacturing, it's in every industry has some form of governance, abiding by government laws that protect privacy for personally identifiable information, for example. Culture within an organization, meaning you have to make sure that you're doing everything you're supposed to do in that organization. That's governance, right? It could be project management, it could be program management, it could be you are a manager, it could be you did some sort of management or supervisory role. Every industry has that in some way, shape, or form. They have it, and they have to abide by certain laws in that industry. You have exposure to it. If you were a teacher, you've got FERPA, you've got state laws that you had to abide by to protect student information. If you were in healthcare, there was HIPAA and all kinds of city and state laws that you had to abide by. Other countries have their own healthcare laws. If you were in manufacturing, if you were in energy, if you were in government, all of those have governance, risk management, and compliance. So you have some exposure to it. What we're going to do is dig through that. So you're going to go through this course. I'm going to work with you, right? But you got to go through the course to understand what GRC is, because I want to make sure that you want to do this, because it's definitely not for everybody. And then we're going to work on how can we get that in your resume, and what is your path? How can we get you from here to there? How can we make a list of things that you need to do and accomplish to get yourself to a GRC position? This is not for people who are not serious, right? This is for people who are very serious about making that transition. So you are going to understand it's going to take me time to get to a GRC position, because it's not entry level. There might be some side quests I have to do, but I want to do it. That's how bad I want to do it. So if you are interested in this, go to ConvoCourses.com, click on that link, and you can get it from there. Now, once you get in, you'll see this. Let me show you guys what it looks like on the inside here. Just grab this and show you what we're talking about here. As soon as I can get the tab that didn't shut down on me already. Let's see here. It looks a little bit like this. And then let me show you my screen. Okay, there we go. Yeah. All right. So it's going to look a little bit something like this when you log in. This is our group. This is new group that we formed up. So this is where we're talking. A lot of my content comes from these guys right here. But you're going to go here to learning, and we're going to have a whole bunch of stuff popping up here. Eventually, we just started this, so it's going to be more stuff coming. But let's say you get in there and you'll see something that looks like this. This is all material right here. Over 100 videos, downloadables, walkthroughs. This is teaching you exactly what risk management framework is by going through the NIST 800, NIST CSF, NIST cybersecurity framework. That's what this is. If you're interested, let me know. And I'll show you what we're talking about here. By learning, my theory is this. If let's say you're a teacher, you know FERPA, right? You know what that is, or you are in healthcare, and you know HIPAA, right? Or you are in retail and you know PCI DSS. You have exposure to it. So what I'm going to do is show you, number one, you have exposure to it. You do. You, whether you know it or not, you have exposure to GRC, right? Maybe it's not in GovTech, maybe it's not in healthcare, maybe it's not in, you know, all the ones we talk about normally online or whatever, but you have it. It's in your industry. So we're going to point that out. We're going to figure out what that is. That's what the course walks you through. One of the first things it does. Then what we're going to do is we're going to deep dive into a GRC, a real GRC standard called the NIST CSF. The reason why I chose NIST CSF, I could have chose NIST 800. That's the thing I know the most off the top of my head. I could have done ISO 27001. There's a couple other ones I could do. Like CIS would have been a good one too. But the reason why I chose NIST CSF is because it's right in the middle. PCI DSS is for credit cards. It's very specialized. FERPA is specialized. It's for protecting family information in an educational setting. It's very specific. If I would have went HIPAA, that's healthcare. Like not everybody does that. NIST CSF is right down the middle. It's for anyone can use it. A small business can use NIST CSF. Hospitals actively use NIST CSF. The DoD, the Department of Defense, U.S. Department of Defense uses NIST CSF. So many different organizations use it that once you break it all down, it's going to click. You're going to be like, got it. That's what GRC is? Yeah, that's what we're going to do. And so for a limited time, I don't know how many people I can take on to actually one-on-one a bunch of people. So I might have to close, turn it off. I don't know how this is going to go. So let's try it. If you're interested, go to ConvoCourses.com, click on the link of GRC RoadMap and check it out. Another thing that's coming up soon, if you're not interested in this, I've been taking this cloud journey. If you guys been following me over the last few months, if you've been following me on the last few months, you know I've been on this cloud journey, and I got a cloud position. I'm now a cloud guy, and I'm doing it. It's awesome. I'm having a great time. I love it. I'm definitely gonna be doing this for a while. I've got what I've been doing is documenting everything that I've done with taking this certification right here. So I've got a book coming out. Join the waiting list. What I do to people who join my group is I normally give this out for free when I first launch it, and that's a promotional thing. That's a promotional thing that I do for Amazon on Amazon. Helps me out, right? Helping you because I'm giving it to you for free, and then in exchange for hopefully getting a review. Not guaranteed, but hopefully you give me one, and then that helps me out. Or even just downloading it, buying it, or whatever you do. But join the mailing list so I know that you're interested, so I can go and contact you when the book is done. It's very close to being done. I'm still working on it. Just going through racking my brain, putting everything together in an organized fashion that'll allow you to go ahead and take that test and pass it. And then I've got other stuff that's being cooked up too in the background for cloud stuff. So if you're interested, get on that waiting list. Go to ConvoCourses.com, jump on the waiting list. Okay, that's enough of that. All right, let's get back to this. More comments. Thank you guys for jumping on. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. And just know all this stuff that you guys do funds all of this, right? My mission is to help you guys to get into this awesome field that it's grown on me like a mold. It's been awesome. It's been incredible. In all seriousness, it's helped me to travel the world. I'm talking about GRC and cybersecurity. It's helped me to travel the world. I haven't been afraid of losing my job. Through COVID, I was good. Through the shutdowns, I've been through a few of them. I've been good. And it's because of my skill set, right? I owe a lot to cybersecurity and GRC. And it's just, I see people going through all the stuff in their respective career paths. And as much as I love and respect thing, and how much we need great teachers and great nurses and great, they're going to be there, right? There's going to be people who pursue that to the ends. I got to say, sometimes I hear him speak and I feel bad for him because I know theirs is harder than mine. Meanwhile, I'm working from home, getting paid very well, and sometimes I'm in positions where I can travel, and I'm able to take care of my family. I'm able to start businesses and invest in things like that. It's been incredible, and that's why I want to spread the good news to other people and say, listen, this is no joke. Like, this is a great career field. It's not for everyone, right? It's definitely not for everyone, right? There's people who are creatives and they don't want to do this kind of stuff. They want to be a musician. They want, it's definitely not for everyone. But for those who are looking for just a steady path, a steady method, a steady, like, they just want to get in there. They want a job that's going to take care of themselves and the kids. Right. This right here has been taking care of me. And I could work directly for the government. I could work in the private sector. I could work for the FANG organizations. I could work in another country. It's been incredible. It's been incredible. So that's why I'm spreading the good news. So just know that if you spend $1 with me, it's going to keep promoting this kind of stuff so I can help people like us, right? Meaning people who are interested in this to succeed and keep going. Because you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay. All right. Let me keep going through comments and stuff. All right. Appreciate you guys jumping on. I'm on TikTok right now. I'm reading comments. Most in demand skills for GRC. Most in demand. I'm imagining that you're asking a question here. What is the most in demand skill for GRC? I would have to say there's a few. Knowing a standard in your field is really important. Knowing the standard or framework or construct in your respective industry is important. If you're in healthcare, HIPAA. To give you an example, if you want to be a GRC person in retail, PCI DSS. If you want to be in GovTech, work for the U.S. government. In the U.S., it's FISMA, which is a law, it's an act. But really, what you really need to know is the NIST 800 series. There's a couple of them that you really need to know. NIST 800, NIST 853, NIST 837. Those are the main two that even the new stuff, they're like, oh, we're going to get away from this. They're going to copy those two. I can guarantee you that they're going to copy those two right there. So if you know those. So the main skills, knowing the industry's framework, standard, construct, whatever you want to call it, laws, whatever, that they have to abide by, that industry, because all of their policies, their procedures are all based off of that. So that would be one of the main ones. Another one's communication. Being able to communicate is super important. I know it sounds weird to people who've been doing it their whole life, but not everybody has the ability to do it. Not everybody can communicate. Either they get too nervous or they don't feel like they don't want to. Sometimes it's not easy. You got to deal with difficult people. You know what I mean? So you've got to be able to speak a different dialect, because if you're talking to the CIO, you can talk very differently than you would talk to the managers. You're going to be talking very different than you talk to the technical people, than you talk to a customer. You've got to be able to code switch and talk their language, right? You got to meet them where they are and then explain to them what's going on with risk in there. So communication super important. Super, super important for GRC positions. Those two, what's another one? I would say more and more having a background or having a solid, I shouldn't say background, a solid understanding of IT fundamentals is really important for GRC. I would say those are the top three things. I would. You notice I didn't mention any certifications. I didn't mention any degrees. I didn't mention a security clearance, right? Those are things that'll help you to be more competitive. But the main things once you get in the door are those things. without a doubt. Without a doubt. If you don't have one of those things, you won't be there for very long. Right? They'll try to switch you somewhere else, or they'll talk shit about you behind your back because you don't know. Like, man, this guy really doesn't know what he's doing. But if you know those things, then you're, man. And that's not, you can learn it, right? I'm not trying to say, oh, I'm on a pedestal, I know all this stuff. No, you can do it. Like, I'm telling you, you can do it. This nothing that I've learned that you can't also do. Let me see here. Okay, let me switch it up. Go back to YouTube. Let me see. Got some whole conversation over here. Okay, here's one. Carl Scott says, despite the existing guidance from the NIST and the DoD, now Department of War, every government organization I've worked for does it differently and sometimes ad hoc. Don't know how this approach will change that. That's a great point. So that is a great point. Fundamentally, what I've found, Carl, just my own experience, just speaking from my own experience, I've noticed that there's a ground that doesn't change. There's a groundwork that, even though each one is a bit different, let me see if I read you correctly. Every government organization I work for does it differently and sometimes ad hoc. Yeah. So even though there's a bit of difference between all of these things, there's a bit of difference between them. There's some delta from one organization from another. I'll give you a specific example. Moving from the DoD to NASA to where I am now, another agency. These three agencies all do things differently, to the point where it's about 2 to 3 months of learning when you get in. Even for me, who's been doing this 20 years, I get into another organization. It's so different that it takes me 3 months to really learn what they do. On average, depends on what's going on, right? If I'm in the DoD, it's not that much different. But even from the Air Force to the Army, it was different. And even within a giant department, it's a little bit different. Going like how they do different things is a little bit different. And right now, I'm in one gigantic department, and I've moved laterally. I've moved from this to here, and so you're right. Like, there's differences between, but there's a ground. There's a something that remains steady. That if you know it, you'll pick up things very fast, no matter what they're doing, and you'll pick up things that they're doing wrong, right or wrong. And I would say that those three things that I mentioned earlier, if you know those really well, how to communicate, it doesn't matter where they put you. It doesn't matter where they put you, because you can communicate. So you could switch gears and talk to them, and because communication is not just talking, right? It's listening. If you know how to have critical thinking, it's critical listening, and that critical thinking skill, once you apply that to communication, when they're explaining something to you, you're listening. Maybe hey, I know what kind of learning I know what kind of learner I am. I know I need to take notes. I'm going to write these notes down. I need to record this while they're teaching me. I'm going to record what they're saying, and then I'm going to go back and read. Like communication, right? If you know communication, you'll pick it up really fast. And that's listening, active listening, and being able to speak to different people in the organization. Another part of that ground is knowing the framework of whatever they're doing, because everything they're going to do is based off that framework. Now, they might implement it slightly differently, right? I mean, 99 times out of 10, they do it completely different. Even within this giant department I'm in, I move from this one to this one, and they do it different. Right? So some things are better. Some things are like, this could be better. But I know what they're supposed to do in accordance to what framework. They do it differently. And then the other thing is the fundamentals. Since I know fundamentals, I know how certain things are supposed to work. So I know when they're explaining something to me, I pick it up pretty fast because I already know how networking works. I already know what's supposed to happen in a client server model. I know what's supposed to, if they're doing something completely backwards and wrong, I'll be able to say, why do you guys do it like that? I've never seen it done like that before. Why is it like this? I might talk to my peers about that, and then they'll tell me, well, they do it because they're bass backwards. That's why, or whatever, So those three fundamentals have got me pretty far. Like, even though it does change. Now, to your point, how is the Department of War going to fix that with the CSRMC, with the construct, with the cybersecurity risk management construct? How are they going to fix it? I don't think that they will. It's like the fundamental. It's like they went back to the fundamentals of engineering by citing the system development lifecycle in their construct, in their 5-pointed plan for a cybersecurity risk management construct is just cybersecurity, just risk management run 101, essentially. It kind of seems like with the construct, let me fix this thing on TikTok real quick. With the construct, it seems like some managers wrote it without consulting with engineers or the people who are going to have to implement this thing. And that's very, I've been around that a lot, and it's very irritating. It's very, very irritating when they do that. All right, let me see here. Great point, Scott. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate your comment. Defiant 3D says, maybe not a faster method of implementing controls, but might be worth a read. The DVMS, the Digital Management Value System, is suggesting a move from GRC to GRA, or Governance, Resilience, and Assurance. You're going to have to give me some more information about that. I'm not familiar with that. Governance, Resilience, and Assurance. I don't know what. I'd have to see more about that. I feel like there is a solution to make things faster and more efficient. I believe that there is a solution. I just don't. So far, what they've done is recited the system development lifecycle. There, and then saying, "Oh, it's different," and it's not really different. It sounds like they didn't talk to the engineers and technical folks who have to implement the controls. That's what is, to me, that's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like to me. Is what happened. So we'll see how that goes. And it's too bad because this is an opportunity for them to. These guys are change makers, man. They really make stuff happen. Everyone's listening to them, for some reason. So it's just a shame that all the attention goes to somebody who doesn't know what the hell they're doing. That will fire me if they saw that if they tied my name to a real person. You know what I mean? Like, this, I don't know what they're doing, man. I don't know. It's a shame, man. I love the U.S., man. I fucking love the U.S., but this ain't it, man. I'm just being real with you guys. It makes me sad to say it, man. I hate to say it, but it's just, man, it's so dumb. Do you still teach GRC? Yes, absolutely, sir. I absolutely do, and it's amazing that you would ask that question because right now, for a limited time, sound like a damn salesman, huh? For a limited time, we have the GRC RoadMap, NISTRMF. This walks you through the process of what real GRC people do. What has to happen in an organization to make GRC happen. I'm going to take you through a real framework called the NISTRMF that'll break all this down. And in the end, what you walk away with is not just some certification, not just a cert saying, oh, you completed this 7 hours of course. What you walk away from is, I'm going to do, for a limited time, one-on-one with you to see how we can document your roadmap. How do you go from wherever you happen to be to on a path to GRC work, to being a GRC person, right? You're going to learn GRC stuff, the NIST CSF. You're going to learn it. We're going to look at your resume. If you don't have one, we're going to make one. Me and you are going to make a resume. And then we're going to make a path for you. I also have one thing I didn't mention is I made a GPT with ChatGPT that uses an AI to take where you are and grind out a path for you to get to GRC. But I actually personally take my own 20 years worth of experience and will give you one myself. Limited time. I don't know how many people I can do at once, but I'm gonna go ahead and try it. But yes, I still do teach it. Right now it's NIST CSF. I have in the past done risk management framework for ISOs, for information system security officer work, because I've done it many years, so I really know, I really know that stuff. But this one's a NIST GRC, NIST CSF. All right. Let's see. Other questions, comments. Yeah, join the community. If you guys, if you don't have the money or funds or whatever, it's fine. You're not trying to right now. You're not. This is not all about money. You can join our community and be a part of the conversation, right? So that's ConvoCourses.com. Just hit the join button, and then come into the community, and then you can just listen to us talk or join in the conversation, ask questions. There's no dumb questions. So join ConvoCourses.com, online community. And then somebody mentioned mentorships. I don't. If you want a mentorship, I can refer some folks to you. One of which is Will Reed at Better Everyday Cyber, does mentorships. Mine is a course. I will help you in the course, but it's not a one-on-one mentorship where I'm taking you to. Not yet. Maybe one day. I work full time, so. Yep, and there's the link. Appreciate you guys, and Larry, thank you for that $10, man. I appreciate you. It says, hey Bruce, which of your early published books best covers the NIST 800 series? I have the Cyber Program and Policy, and as well as the GRC RoadMap, NIST CSF. Is there another one I should start with? The one that people really love is a series of books. Let me see if I can grab them. So I've written a series of books, and I'm gonna post them on the site and everything. But right now, if you want to get those books, you can go to Amazon.com. Let me show you the books first. It's these three right here. These two are the most popular. These two books right here, GRC books. This one, very basic NIST risk management framework. I'm telling you from the perspective of somebody who's done this before, what you really need to focus on. And this one right here, RMF ISO NIST 853 controls, book 2. It's a 3-book series, but those are the ones I would recommend. Why? All right. So, by the way, this information, you can go to NIST.gov and you can find all the controls, 100% of all the controls, and I would highly recommend you check it out. Read through it, and then you'll understand why I wrote this book. Read through it. Read all the words, and then you'll understand why I wrote something like this. Because it's very different. Like, I speak in layman's terms, and I'm speaking from somebody who's done it before. I'm giving you real-world examples of what it is. I'm explaining things, and I'm focusing on things you really need to know. Like, if you go to the free resources on NIST.gov, you read through the NIST 853, which you should, right? This is not a replacement for the NIST 853, right? All jokes aside, but it's a reference guide. It's written by academics, and sometimes it's just hard to understand, especially if this is not your first language, right? If you speak 3 or 4 languages, like English is not something you probably speak in your house, right? and you want to understand it, but they're using all this weird jargon. I got news for you. If you're having trouble understanding it, I can barely understand it. I mean, I do now because I've been reading it so long. But when you first look at it, it's like, what the hell? The way they word things is weird. And it's not because we're dumb. Like I know that the reason they hire GRC people is because the language is so thick to get through in every industry, by the way. Because give you an example, like I'm working with very technical, in the weeds, very smart dudes who are doing, I don't know, network engineering, firewalls. They're doing all kinds of stuff that I'm barely hanging on by a thread to understand when they have something really complicated happen that I'm like, whoa, what the hell? And we're trying to get through something like, I don't know, patch something or get rid of a vulnerability or something. And I'm sitting in a meeting with them talking about, cryptological modules that need to be updated or something like that. And they're talking about something I know the name, but I don't know how to implement it or something, but they do. And then I say, well, we have to implement AC control -3 or something. And I explain what it is. And then worse, if I explain it, they'll understand it. But if I send them the actual documentation from the NIST 800, they're like, what the hell is this? Like, what? I don't understand. Could you explain this to me? That's how complicated and twisted the words are. I mean, not twisted, but the way that they phrase it is sometimes a little bit convoluted. Sometimes. So that's why I wrote this book, is to explain it. But to answer your question, Larry, these are the two I would recommend. This is the guide, foundations guide. And Larry, man, thank you for all your donations, man. If you listen, don't buy the book, man. Larry, listen, I can send you a book, man. Just email me directly and send me your address. I've got a whole bunch of these that I can give, right? So if anybody else has some problems financially, listen, I've got books on hand. As an author, I have author copies. If you really want one, if you're not serious about this, please don't waste your time and don't waste my time. If you are serious and you just short on funds and you are interested in one of these books or any book I've written, I might have it on hand. Email me, contact@convocourses.com. I'll send you a copy of it. And maybe you help me with shipping and handling or something. Because I'm really about this life. I really want people to learn it. It's really been helpful to me. I want you guys to succeed, right? Regardless of our different walks of life or religious beliefs or political leanings, like we all have to survive in this world, right? So I just want people to have the same kind of blessings that I've had. And I found that if I pay it forward, tenfold comes back to me. I believe in karma is real, man. When you're good to people, good things happen back to you. And that's been, if you do bad things happen, So I truly believe that. Maybe not in this lifetime, but I believe that eventually it comes back to you fully, 100% comes back. So I try to put as much good in this world as I can, even though sometimes life is brutal. And I don't take that on people. I truly believe that if you're good to people, good things will happen. Maybe not in this lifetime, but eventually it does. Somebody said, yo, studying for the Network Plus. I have a security clearance. Well, congratulations. That security clearance is going to take you a long way. Security Plus is not marketable, but it's some great great way to learn the basics of networking. A terrible certification. I have the Network Plus. I like the Network Plus, to be honest with you. I really like it. I love most of the CompTIA stuff. I love their curriculum. That was my first certification, was the A+. It was A+, Network Plus, and then eventually Security Plus. I love their certifications. Oh, and the Linux Plus. Yeah. I took all of those certifications, some while I was in the Air Force. And I love the curriculum because they break it down. And then it's non-vendor specific. Some of the better certifications that get you really paid, like the AWS certifications or the Cisco certifications, very, very reputable certifications, gonna get you a job, all that kind of stuff. It's gonna help you to get a job, I should say. But they're very vendor centric, right? They're talking about their products, and Microsoft too. They're talking about their products, and here's how you do it. Here's how we named our branded VPC and our branded. You got to learn all their jargon and stuff. But what I love about CompTIA, Network Plus, and Linux Plus, and A Plus, and all those certs is that their curriculum is vendor neutral. That's the word I was looking for. It's vendor neutral. In other words, it's not, they don't talk about, oh, you got to do the Cisco special routing protocol that Cisco made themselves or whatever. They just tell you the fundamentals and then they move on to the next topic. So Network Plus, not very marketable. But great. If you're a beginner, like a beginner, it's really good because the way they explain things is very straightforward and vendor neutral. Not, if you've already done networking for some time, it's a waste of your time. It's a complete waste of your time. Like you need to do something else. But if you're brand new, it's great. All right, got some more comments here. Thank you guys for joining. Oh, next week, by the way, guys, next week I want Larry and everybody. I want to do another live with people jumping on. If you guys are up to it, I'm interested in having people talk on here, and I'll just take a back seat and listen. And so Larry says, all good, always glad to support someone that gives as much as you do in the community. Many don't understand the struggle that veterans face. And even the government employees, much appreciated. Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate you. I really appreciate you, man. All right. Everybody in IT should just go ahead and get a CCNA. That's somebody on TikTok. Mr. Big Vibe says everybody in IT should just go ahead and get a CCNA. Yeah, CCNA was a life changer when I got it many years ago. I've since let it lapse. What's funny, I got a couple funny CCNA stories. When I first took the CCNA, it was the hardest test I'd taken at the time, like many years ago when I first started in IT. And then I took it, I passed it, and then it opened up all these doors. It allowed me to go be a field tech and work with who became my mentor, Mr. Ramsey, my first mentor, and who hopefully one of these days I can have him on the show. He's a real sharp dude. I was the best man at his wedding. We were pretty close. So anyway, I was a groomsman at his wedding. Sorry. So I was able, that CCNA allowed me to get in that room and get that job, I think. And then many years later, I did so many other things, right? And I got a CISP and went deeper into GRC work and went away from network engineering and stuff. And then I went back and tried to take the CCNA again, and it was hella hard. It was hella hard, man. They changed that mug up. That thing is different now, and I fucking failed it. It wasn't the same. So yeah, if you fail it, don't worry, my motto is you only fail if you quit. Just keep taking it until you pass it. But I didn't have it in me to take it again. I was like, all right, I think I'm out of networking. I think I'm done. I need to focus on what I'm already doing. So that's kind of what I did. Thank you guys for the Yasuke sent me some Thunderbolts and a goat ×6. Thanks, man. I appreciate you. I've been getting paid off TikTok, which is weird. Oh yeah, brother, they changed it frequently. Half of it is not even pure networking anymore. No shit. Yeah, it changed, man. I was surprised. I went back and took it, and it was hella hard. I think it was like, when I took it, it was a just a written test, but when I went back, it was an interactive test. And I was like, Damn. And I'd just been out of it so long. I just didn't like, I knew I had to practice and I just didn't practice. So, and I think they changed it. Did they, if I'm not mistaken, CCNA, they broke it into parts. Is that right? They broke it into parts, right? Isn't it a CCNA security and a CCNA networking now or something like that? And a CCNA cloud, or I don't know what they're doing now. I've been out of the loop on networking for a while. And networking used to be my thing. I just haven't done it in a long time. It's one of those things like if you don't use it, you lose it. Now I'm just curious. CCNA certification. CCNA certificate. Let me see. Well respected. AI is giving me a rundown of CCNA. I'm so out of the loop. I'm Googling CCNA. They've changed it completely. Cisco's really trying to keep up. They're really trying to keep up with everything. I've noticed. Right here's Cisco.com. Let me show you guys my screen. So I'm not hiding anything. Cisco Certified Network Associate. I used to be about this life right here, man. And it says prepare your exam. Okay, I guess they didn't break it up into parts, huh? I was just curious. $300 certification, 120 minutes. At one time, I thought they broke this up into different parts. Like they had separate CCNA exams, but I guess not. Or maybe I'm just mistaken. I know that they did like a CCENT, which replaced that's now their entry level certification. It used to be CCNA was their entry level certification. So I think that what they did was they made another one before you get to the CCNA. That's on the level of a Network Plus, like a beginner type of cert or something. I don't know. I don't know the path anymore to CCNA, but I'd be interested. He says, yeah, they broke it up. They break up everything by levels now. Oh, is that what it is? So it's an associate, a professional, and an expert. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Wow. Yeah, they've really Cisco is one of those in the US anyway. It's one of those staple. There's some this an industry. They're a organization who has shaped all of networking. Cisco and even Juniper is a derivative of I believe Juniper, like the second largest network. I want a third or fourth. I don't know. It's on the list, but they were employees that came from Cisco, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, Cisco as a company has really shaped everything. I think Palo Alto also was employees that came from. Am I right or wrong? Palo Alto came from Cisco. Some employees came from Cisco. Juniper was some employees that came from Cisco. VMware? I don't know about VMware, but yeah, they have shaped in all of networking all over the world, all over planet Earth. A very powerful, very influential organization. The Juniper story I've heard, I think they wanted to change the iOS and ended up making their own. Right. You're right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Interesting. And then a LinkedIn user says they did CCNA data center, CCNA service provider, CCNA voice, CCNA wireless. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I thought that they had that before, but I'm not seeing it on their site. CCNA, I probably just don't know what I'm doing here. Data center. Okay, yeah, there it is. CCNA data center was an associate level certification for data center administrators that covered data center networking, storage, virtualization, automation. What do they do? They just merge them all together or something? And you said data CCNA voice. Yeah, that's what I remember. And there was like a security one too, right? There was a security CCNA security. I'm kind of geeking out here, guys. This is what I used to be into. I used to be really, really super deep into this Cisco stuff. I was 100% about this life. So just bear with me for a second. Let me geek out for a second here. CCNA security was a Cisco certification for entry-level network security professionals, but it has been replaced with the current consolidated Cisco Certified Network Associate certification. Okay, it came back together, and I guess now they have those different levels, huh? Is that what they're doing now? Okay, and then for those looking for specialization, advanced security roles, Cisco offers other security certifications such as professional level CCNP security, okay, and then CCIE security. Yeah, interesting. CCIE, one of the hardest certifications of all times, from what I've heard, and one of the most expensive, um, ridiculously hard certification for people who are on a whole nother level. All right, let me see. I got some more comments. Thank you guys so much for participating. We've been talking for about 120 minutes. 101 minute and 20 1 hour and 20 minutes. I'm dyslexic, y'all. Okay, Larry says also check out episode where Bruce interviewed Will Reed and he speaks a bit about his mentorship program. Yes, shout out Will Reed. Better Everyday Cyber. Check him out. Good dude, really good dude. And he's got a mentorship program that he's working on. And he actually had a few of our folks from this come on for free to vet people to see if they can get into his new program that he's got over there. Shout out Will Reed. Always great to have you on, man. And then let me see here. LinkedIn user says HPE bought out Juniper this year. What? Yes, most network engineers prefer the Juniper OS and because it's more intuitive. What? I'm having trouble believing this one. HPE, I used to work for them. Bought Juniper? I didn't even know they had money. What? Bro, you are blowing my mind right now. Wait a minute. Okay. Hold the phone. We got some new news here, y'all. I'm having a hard time believing this. I can't believe this. I cannot believe this. Juniper, HPE, Hewlett Packard Enterprise, has closed its acquisition of Juniper Networks, completing the deal in July 2025. Is there just going to be one company? Like, what is going on? What? HPE bought Juniper? What is happening? What in the hell? I thought HPE was out of here. Wow, man, I was wrong. Wow, I'm tripping. Damn. Thanks for that news, man. I did not know that. Bruce, you mentioned a good GPT prompts for career roadmap creation, resume help, and some other things. Can you share them on the community platform? Yay. I've got a couple already on the community platform. Okay, so what Larry is talking about is I've got a couple of GPTs that I created on Chat GPT that I've only shared to my community. So just so you guys know. And what I'll do is I'll consolidate all my sources, right? So I'll give you an example, the cloud one. So I've got one for cloud. And what I did was I took all my sources. I said, okay, how did I pass this course? What were the best sources that I used? I took all of those, compiled them into one GPT so that AI can look at those things and give us factual information. And another one I did was one of my best ones is I've got one for ISO 27001. So I took all the best resources that I use, including paid resources that I use, and put them in there. You know, the PDFs, the Excel spreadsheets, put them all in there. So that if you ask it a question, it's pulling directly from that source information, that authoritative information, and from the internet if it can. So it hallucinates less, and it gets to the point faster and give you accurate information. And then I also did one for NIST 800. I did one for NIST CSF, and I did one for especially for the GRC RoadMap. Like if you want to know, like, how do I get from here to there? It basically uses the entire book and says, okay, based on Bruce's 20 years of experience and everything he's written in this book, including the NIST CSF itself, and I know that this person worked in the energy sector, or this person worked in retail, and I also know that this person worked on this point of sale device, and I know that this point of sale device has to abide by this PCI DSS standard, and this person, in order to work on this device, had to abide by basic cybersecurity principles. What kinds of things can we put what kind of exposure did they have to GRC? Stuff like that. So it can do stuff like that. And if you join ConvoCourses.com, you will have access to some of those GRC. Now, some of them are only released to, like, if you are GRC RoadMap, you only get that one if you have access to the GRC RoadMap. But the ISO 27001, I put that out there already. The NIST 800 one, and these are so good that I use it to help me fact check my own books. It's really good. So, and then what I plan on doing is making it so these evolve so that they're able to take on more information, maybe build it into a full-blown app, at some point. But right now, that's what I have right. And if you just go on there right now, you have access to it for free. Right. And I can't promise it's always going to be free. There might be a point where I have to pay for it myself, and then I'll have to charge to keep up. But let me see. I can show you guys my screen here, show you what I'm talking about. If you go to ConvoCourses, ConvoCourses.com, this is what you'll see. This is all of we have some great conversations here, by the way. I need to read this one to you guys. This is great comment here from security expert, where he talks about being in FANG, which I find, I've never worked in FANG, so I'm fascinated by that. But anyway, so we're talking about GRC, the GPTs. So let me give you an example here of a GPT. What is one we could use here? Is this where I put the GPTs? That's my real resume. Okay, here we go. So here's two GPTs right here. Here's one for NIST CSF, and then here's one for ISO 27001. So you go here, you get access to this, and you can ask it any question about ISO 27001, and it's pulling from the real 27002 and the real 27001, the most current official copy, to answer any of your questions about the clauses in ISO 27001. So if you have, like, let's say something happened in your organization, it will be able to point you to the correct controls and all that kind of stuff. So that is what you get when you, and here it is right here. It's free. Just log in there. Another thing we have in here is coming from Mr. Ryan. So Ryan wrote a whole freaking book that helps you for free. He helps you to pass the CGRC. There's a study guide that him and Jim Meineke, I can't pronounce his name. Ryan and Jim wrote this book to help you there. This is free. I don't know if they ever come out with a version 3 and that won't be paid. I'm not sure, Ryan, but there you go. There you go. And this one right here, this is $38 a month. I'm going to be working with you. This is taking my time. This took me months and months to develop. So this is $38 per month. You can quit anytime. So there you go. That's what we have so far. And there's tons of other stuff coming, paid and free, that's coming on here. So it's a great time to actually join ConvoCourses.com, join the conversation, be a part of it, and start learning. And let me see what else we got here. I think I might have missed some questions here. I apologize for that, but let me see what we got. TikTok, somebody said, what is the time frame? Okay. Will GRC help me being jobless a year after completing my master's? What's the time frame? What's the time frame if I am fully committed? So I would say, Maestro, that if you have a master's degree, I would have to ask, like, I always tell people start where they are. And it's the realest thing I can say to you, because I don't know what your master's is in, right? Like, I don't know what your background or experience is in. It really depends. I could tell you a story of how Tech Woke, Chris from Tech Woke. If you go to YouTube, type in Tech Woke, Chris, that guy had a master's degree and he had an entry level position in GRC. He was able to do, I don't know what the time frame was, but he was able to go straight from no IT background straight into GRC position. I don't know how long that took. I don't know if it was within a year or whatever. I could tell you a story like that, but I think he's an outlier. I would have to know what your information security. Okay, so I could tell you what I would do if I were you. If I were you, knowing what I know now about this industry, what they really care about is experience. Now I know, it's frustrating, right? Like, how can I get experience if I don't have experience? It don't make any sense. Like, what are you guys doing here, right? What I would recommend you do if you have zero experience in any kind of IT. Yeah, experience. If you have no experience, is do some kind of projects. If you still have communication with the school, I'm just telling you what I would do if I were you. Because I have some peers and people who I know who it worked for them. If you have some communication with the school, try to get work in the school to get hands on experience. Even if it's volunteer work, anything you could put on your profile, your job profile, or put in your career. I did cybersecurity. Okay, like, you're on the right track, bro. What cybersecurity did you do? What are you? What is you? If you already done cybersecurity, man, like, you're good. Like, it's just your resume at this point. I could tell you what to look for. I could give you some pointers on what kind of things to put on your resume to where people are going to contact you. Okay. Oh, like, listen. All right, hold on. All right, let's do this. So wait, hold on. Raymond says, let me answer this question real quick. The GRC RoadMap, how long is the training? Can I ask? It's as long as it takes you to get through the course. So it's a 7-hour course. It's about 100. It's about 100 videos, short videos that get straight to the point. You get through that. It might take you a couple months to do it. And maybe you want to work with me a little bit longer and stay on, or maybe you just do 1 month. What you get in that time frame is you get the book. You get a full-blown book, and I don't have it on me, but you get the book. You get time to work with me where I'll walk you through it. If it takes us 1 month to do it, then just do 1 month and bail. If you're super serious and you're like, nah, I need more time, I'm going to take my time, I'm going to do this, and you want more time with me, take a couple more months, as long as you take to do it. And then once you're done, you're done. Get out of it. I know that sounds hard to believe, but I'm really trying to help people out here, right? If it doesn't do well, that's not, it's a course I just won't do anymore. I'll just do something else. Okay. So where was I? All right. I'm helping out. Somebody was talking about experience. All right. So I've got somebody who has a master's degree. I'm going to show you exactly what I would do to get into GRC. You have a master's degree. You've already worked cybersecurity. Here's what you need to do. It's time to cheat. I'll show you the cheat code. Here's what you're going to do. We're going to get serious about this right here. So let me show you the screen. For those who are listening, show my screen. Here we go. Here's what you're going to do. So here I am on LinkedIn. What you're going to do, what I would do if I were you, is I would look for one of the things that they're really looking for in GRC positions is that you know frameworks. So frameworks is like since we're talking about it, NISTRMF is a framework. A framework is a set of rules that an organization abides by in order to make their security policy, their procedures, essentially all their work that they do to make a program, a whole cybersecurity program, it will be based off of this framework or a law or standard, right? So let's say NIST-CSF is one of those things. NIST-CSF. So what I've done is I typed in NIST-CSF into LinkedIn. You can do this with Indeed. You can do this with Monster. You can do this with just choose a job aggregator of your choice. Now, check this out. I'm going to go to people. Now, there's some people on here that put their whole resume, including myself. I put my whole resume out there for most of the stuff, work I've done. And then, wait, hold on a second. I don't know what happened here. Sorry about that. And what we want to do is look at how they word this stuff. We're going to look for somebody who put their whole resume out there. There's Jeremy Cox here. And we're going to see what kind of job, even this stuff right here, even though he doesn't have his whole resume out there, he's talking about the job. Like we can look at the job title and where he worked. Okay, yeah, he does put it out there. So let's look at this. He says cybersecurity engineer. And these are the types of names that you'll see in GRC, by the way. And if we look at his career, like what he's done, we can see the wording is important. There's a reason why this guy's number one when I typed in NIST-CSF. We want to know that reason. If I had to guess, I'd say it was up here somewhere. Nope, I don't see it in here. I'm not sure why it's appearing here, but maybe it's NIST-CSF. There's got to be a reason why NIST-CSF appears on his resume. What we want to do is we want to research what other people are putting on their resume to get listed so high on here. That's what we want to do. So I'm not sure why on this guy, but let me look at the next person here. Let's look at more people here. We want to look at the wording. We want to look at the types of positions that they've held, things like that. We're looking for frameworks. We're looking for GRC. Like I said in the beginning of this, they're looking for people who know how to articulate how an organization can meet a standard, a framework. That's what we're looking for. So I didn't see a reason why his came up number one, but let's go to the next person here. I'm looking for patterns because we want to put that stuff on our resume. Does that make sense? We want to look like these top performers. We want to, Robin is saying that she was she's an information security compliance assessment risk framework. So maybe we want to use that kind of language in our in our resume or in our profile. That's the way you got to think about it. We're trying to match a pattern here. That's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to lie on our resume or anything like that, right? We're trying to match a pattern. See how they're wording this so that we can match that pattern as closely as possible. And then look at the locations as well. This is showing us where most of these jobs are. If you pay attention, a lot of them will be on the East Coast. A lot of GRC and the U.S. jobs are on the East Coast, by the way. Virginia, Maryland, Washington, D.C. area, by the way. So yeah, so let's look at her resume if she has it here. Yeah, here it is right here. And so somewhere in her resume, she's got NIST CSF. You're in California. Okay. All right. Well, let's keep looking through this. Look at this. Information System Security Officer within the Bureau of Diplomatic, blah, blah, blah. And then she was a cybersecurity analyst. These are the kind of things. Look at this. Plan of action and milestone. Because you'll see different patterns here. Now, I don't know what security, if you help. Oh, Canada. I'm sorry. Canada. Okay. That narrows it down. Let's see. Canada has its own thing. Canada has its own cybersecurity framework, and I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but let's do some research. Canada cyber security GRC. Watch this. I'm going to do some quick research on. I knew this at a point. Off the top of my head, I'm not okay. Canadian Center for Cybersecurity. I'm looking for what certifications Canadians, what kind of GRC work, what kinds of things you need to know in Canada, because I don't think it's the same as the US. I think it's slightly different. GRC frame. Let me look at this. GRC framework. They might not even call it GRC in Canada. They might have a different word for it. Canada does not have a single mandatory cybersecurity GRC framework, but its organizations typically use a combination of Canadian Center for Cybersecurity, Security Readiness. Okay, that's it right there. This is what we need right here. Cybersecurity Readiness Goals. And then ISO 27001. Okay, look at that. All right. Now we're on the right track. They use an international standard like the NIST CSF and ISO 27001. Okay, so my next question to you, Maestro, would be: do you have these? Do you have have any exposure whatsoever to these things? The NIST CSF, the ISO 27001, or the cybersecurity readiness goals? Do you have any kind of exposure at all to these things? Was mostly theory in school. Okay. So, and the security expert says Canada's cybersecurity GRC requirements are the same as the United States. I'm sure they're very, very similar. They have different names for the same thing. That's usually how it goes. I've noticed. Okay, so cybersecurity readiness goals. Let's take a look here. Let's look for people. And we're looking nothing. What the hell? All right, let's strip this down a little bit. Anything? All right. Okay, I think we got something here, but I don't know if it's okay. I'm not seeing nothing's popping out at me. Let me look at jobs. You guys are watching me do the type of research I do in real time. This is the kind of thing I do when I'm looking for my own career path, when I'm doing my own thing here. This kind of stuff I do. All right. So I know for sure there's ISO 27001. I don't know about the Canadians requirements one, but let's look at this. ISO 27001. I know this one's fertile ground. There's 99 jobs plus for ISO. Let's expand this out. So I know Canada uses this one. We want exposure to this right here. At the very least, we want exposure. And it might be because it's looking for Colorado Springs, because mine's tailored to me, right? It's looking in where I live is Colorado area. And so it's looking in this area, which is going to be limited. So just ignore this number right here. It's going to look different for you. If you're looking in Canada, it's going to look very different. But you get the idea. I just want you to see the idea of how I research and how you can go about finding out what to put on your resume. That's going to get you leads, organizations contacting you and marketing yourself. This whole thing's about branding. You know, that's what I've noticed is that you're trying to brand yourself as a cybersecurity expert because you are. You have more expertise and knowledge than 99% of the people on planet Earth. You have a certain level of knowledge that many people don't have. But let's dive into this one here. This is a Colorado Springs job for information assurance engineer, and it might be named something totally different in Canada. But I just want you to get an idea of the kind of things that you're going to see and you want to put on your own resume to give you an idea. This is talking about different tool sets. This is all valuable information because what you can do is reference what I would do. This is what I'm showing you guys exactly what I do. So I know that these guys, they said, look, we need somebody who's familiar with Exacta, risk management framework, DevSecOps. What I do is I pick through this thing and figure out what do I have exact one-for-one experience on, right? That tells me what to put on my resume right there. And if I don't have it, like DevSecOps, let's say I didn't have that, I'll find a way to get that on my I'll find a way to get on my resume in that. Not that I'm going to lie about it. I'm going to get information on it and learn it for myself. I'll either say in the process of learning DevSecOps, or I'll actually take the time to do it myself as in a project so I can list it as a skill or familiar with DevSecOps. You see where I'm going with this? You want to find a way to map yourself to the jobs that are out there. I'm not saying to lie. That's not what I do because I'm really trying to get these jobs. So I know I'm going to get that resume. I just want to explain you guys my philosophy here real quick. So I've seen on TikTok and on YouTube some influencers or whatever saying, "Oh, you should just lie." And I have no fealty, is that the right word? I don't have any loyalty to these companies. I don't have any sympathy for them. I have no love for them. It's at the end of the day, I'm a number, right? So I don't have any. If people are lying to them, I don't think that's the right thing to do, but mainly because I'm a worker and I don't want to work with somebody who doesn't know what the hell they're doing. The reason why I say don't lie is because when you get into an interview, you want to be able to speak with confidence on what you've done. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you worked in in an organization in a role that says you're an IA expert or you're an AI expert or a IAM expert or whatever, right? The reason why, like, I flat out, if they say, "Hey, do you know, have you done DevSecOps before?" I was in one interview, they wanted a Kubernetes guy, and I knew that they did, so I studied the fuck out of it before I went to the interview. And I was able to just rattle stuff off because I studied it. I went to the white paper. I was reading about how Kubernetes work, everything. But I was prepared for when they asked me about it. And I flat out said, no, I don't have direct experience with it, but I do know. And I start breaking down Kubernetes to them. And they asked me a question. If I didn't know it, I'd say, well, I don't know, but I'm very excited to learn that. That's the reason why I'm applying here, because I want to learn it. I do know these, and I have worked on this that's similar to Kubernetes, right? I don't want to get in an environment, even if I got the job and I lied my way into it. The way I think about it is, I don't want to get into a place where I'm stressed the hell out to try to not get fired in 90 days. You know what I mean? I don't want to be that weak link on the team and struggling. And I've got enough stuff to worry about in my own personal life. That's why I don't lie about it. It's not because I want to be. Companies just don't, and there's rare occasions, but they normally just don't care about us. This is my own personal opinion. I don't want to get fired, so I don't want to go too far with this, but I got some feelings about it, right? I got some very strong feelings about it. That said, I'm usually the hardest worker on the team. But I got strong opinions about it because some stuff that happened to me with more than one organization. And so I just don't like the direction most companies, not all, I've worked with some great departments and great people, great organizations, great. but 8 out of 10 of them have not been. I was a number, and that was very clear to me. So I'm not telling you not to lie because I think you should, like be good to them or something like that when they're not going to be good to you. I'm telling you not to lie so you can get in there and own that shit. So you can get in there and know it. When you say I know something, you really know it. That said, you can know it. Like these are things you can know. Like you can go to the white paper and read it. You can learn GRC stuff. You can, if you wanted to get work for Walmart as a PCI DSS person, you're going to have to know PCI DSS. There's papers you can learn. You can go to the PCI DSS website and read it, be able to at least cite what's on the page. Like that gives you a better advantage over somebody who doesn't know anything about it. They're going to want somebody who has experience. If you can get experience, you can do a project to get you the experience. So that's why I say don't lie on this stuff, because I want you to get in there and hit the ground running. I want you to know your stuff when you get in there. I don't want you to be all stressed out about, oh, damn, they're going to fire me because I don't know this shit. And then work with the actual team and then like, this guy don't know nothing. You know what I mean? Don't be that guy. So if you don't know something, don't put that you know it. Learn it. You can say, I don't have direct experience with it, but I'm willing to learn. I'm excited to learn. A lot of times I've learned like it's attitude. Like the attitude of a person who really wants to learn is over a person who's very arrogant, who says that they know everything. It's better to just be truthful. You don't want to work for a company that don't want you there. Or at least I don't. Okay, let's get back into this. So we got a master's degree. We're from Canada. What would I do? So I would research my landscape. My landscape is in Canada. I know that they use ISO 27001. I know that one of the main Canadian premier GRC frameworks. I'm not sure if this is a framework, but you get the point. What we're trying to do is dial in what we need to have on our resume as a Canadian GRC person. And this seems like one of them. The cybersecurity readiness goals, set of priorities, and foundational recommendation for the. So it does seem like it is some kind of a framework. And then they also use NIST. Imagine that. NIST CSF. Wow. Awesome. That's incredible. This is used all over the world, by the way. If you know this one right here, you can figure all the other ones out. NIST CSF is no joke. ISO 27001, you definitely want to have that one. And I'm sure there's a few other ones from Canada that you want to put that stuff on your resume. And you can cheat by looking at people and finding other people who have this on your resume and figuring out how they word it, how they word this stuff on their resume. That's what you want to do. What kind of wording are they using? It could be that you have the skills, but you're just not wording it properly. A lot of times when I'm looking at people's resume, they have the skills, but they're not wording it in such a way that puts them on the top of the food chain for these jobs. Like these people that you'll notice I typed in ISO 27001. Just notice this. ISO 27000. Why? Ask yourself, why is it that these people are listed on the top? Because they're fucking badasses. That's why. Because they put the right words, the right keywords on the top of their resume. That's why. That's the reason why. You've got to do the same thing. Look for the patterns inside of their resume to figure out how they're marketing themselves so you can know how to market yourself. Look how they list this stuff right in their resume because they have exposure to it. And if you don't have exposure to this, go ahead and go and read ISO 27001. And you're in luck because actually, if you go to my free downloadable, I got a free downloadable and you can check it out right now. If you go to ConvoCourses.com, log in there, go check out my GPT for ISO 27001 that I showed you earlier. Ask it any question. Ask it like the fundamental things you need to know. That sucker right there has the, I don't want to get sued or anything, but it has the real ISO 27001 in it. I'm not allowed to market ISO 27001 to you. Like they're very strict with that thing because I think it's from a commercial entity. I'm not sure, but you got to be very careful with ISO 27001 because anyway, right now, as long as I have it, it's in my GPT, ISO 27001. And if you wanted to learn it, you could go there and ask it any question, and it's going to pull from the sources, paid sources that I have, that you can ask it, how should I study ISO 27000? And then once you know ISO 27001, you've read the document, I would recommend even buying it for yourself, like going out and buying. It's like $130, by the way. It is not cheap. It's like 20 pages long. It's ridiculous. You're going to pay $130 for a $20 thing. You can buy mine for $20. I wrote one for $20, by the way. Just putting that out there. If you go to Amazon.com, type in ISO 27001 Bruce. If they're still listing it, they might have freaking taken it down. I don't know. Or you can go to here's the better one. Go to ConvoCourses.net and order my book if it's not on Amazon anymore, because ISO 27001 are a bunch of you know what's. So go to ConvoCourses.net and buy ISO go ISO 27001, and that's it right there. That's the book. Or you can go to the EU site and go to the real one that's 20 pages long that costs $130. If you want, you can just go ahead and do that. And then once you read it, you can then put that you are familiar with the ISO 27001. You can list that on your resume, and you won't be lying because you will be familiar with it after having read it. And what you'll see is, as you read through it, it's very dry. It's not going to be fun read. But after you go through it, you'll find most of the stuff you've done before, and you can actually say, wait a minute. Yeah, I do have experience doing auditing. Oh yeah, I do have experience doing logging. I've turned on logs before. Oh yeah, we do have antivirus. Yeah, I've done that before. I know I'm familiar. Not only I'm familiar, but I had to turn those on at the job I'm at. Like, you know what I mean? So you got to read through the document first, and you'll see how familiar you are with it, and you'll get some more information. Okay, I've got some other security expert is chiming in saying the Canadian ITSG 33, that sounds familiar, is an exact copy of the NIST 853. No shit. An exact copy of the ISO NIST 853. Security expert says mandatory for any cybersecurity work in the Canadian side with the government, the ITSG S3 ITSG 3-33. So I hope you're still there, Canadian dude. It's on your site. Yeah, Maestro, listen, man. Okay, so there's a couple I'm going to show you in real time. All right, let me just show my screen here. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm going to show you where to find this thing, because this was a real eye opener for me. I'm going to show you, first of all, where to find the actual copy of this thing. ISO 27001 certification document. Okay. All right. So that's an ad. You don't want that one. You want this is I'm going to show you the real one that you can get, and you'll see this is the most current one. As you can see, it's a $132, right? You would think that this right here, this PDF that you're about to download, is a comprehensive document that's like 100 pages long. No, this thing right here is about 10 pages long, and it's 130 pages, and it's pretty basic. Super duper 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 basic. Not impressive at all. It's no NIST 853. Okay, it's very basic, this document right here. 10 pages, 130 dollars. In fact, I think it's more expensive than that, because this is, what is this? francs. I don't know, man. The shit's expensive, and it's like it might be if you're a man. It's not 20 pages long. I'm telling you, it's very short. 19 pages long. Am I lying to you? Listen, look at this. It's 19 pages long, man. For $130. Look, listen to what I'm telling you. That's the price. This is not USD. Remember, EU is more than USD. Okay, I'm just saying. All right, now let me show you another one. Another other source here that you can get. ConvoCourses.net. .net. I bought that book, man. That's why I'm so mad. I'm still mad to this day. So ConvoCourses.net, right? I've got a bunch of books on here. Bunch of books I sell directly because every now and then, what'll happen is Amazon will just kill one of my books. And I don't know why. They won't give me a reason. Okay, mine is not 10 pages long, but it's $14. This is the digital copy. It expands on all the stuff it says. It mentions every clause that's in the EU's book, but it expands it and gives you examples and ties it back to other sources. All right. Now there's other alternatives. Okay. You don't have to buy mine. Amazon. Let me show you some other great books. ISO 27001. All right, here's the top of the food chain for ISO 27001. This right here, I've not read this book, but this is my competition right here. This guy's no joke. All right. This guy's no joke. This guy's book, I think, is good. I don't know about these other guys, but this one right here. But listen, mine's got an audio book. I'm just saying, y'all. Yeah, audio book. So, yeah, if you want to learn it, you can. Those are a couple of the resources. Here, I'm going to show you another resource. I'm going to go to ConvoCourses, login.convocourses.com. I'm going to log into our community here, and I'm going to show you another free resource that's even my competition hasn't done yet, as far as I know. All right, so let me show you here. Go to AI security, and then you go to this right here. You'll see this link right here. This takes you to this right here is a GPT that will explain the clauses of ISO 27001. It'll tell you how ISO 27002 complements ISO 27001, describe implementation of the ISM, the ISMS. It can even create documents. So this right here is built based off of the paid documents from here. More than one, by the way. This shit's not, it was not cheap. So I had to buy two of these. They're both over $150 a piece. So it's like $300. But yeah, you can right now, while it's still available, while not getting booted off of here by the ISO community, it's here. And I haven't seen anybody else do this, but I'm sure it's coming. You've seen it here first, folks. You can learn it. If you really want to, you can learn it. But there's one, and then I have ones for NIST CSF as well. Yep. So those are a couple different great resources that you can use, and then list it on your resume. So that would be the trick of getting yourself in that field. Appreciate you guys' awesome input on this stuff here. All right, let me see if I can get back. Man, why is it? I'm so much trouble here. Okay, there we go. All right. Got some other comments here. Thank you for that, security expert. I appreciate you. Oh, let me just do this before I'll let you go here. Security expert mentioned something really good that we should look at. So if we go to LinkedIn, LinkedIn and we type in, he said ITSG-33. That would be the thing that I should have typed in. So if I go here, I type in ITSG, oops, SG-33, and then I look at people. Yeah, there we go. So these are people who have ITSG. See how, look at this. This is what you want to have, my friend, on your resume right here. This right here, I guarantee you're going to get contact if you put this right here on your resume. Now, I would go ahead and read this. Don't list it unless you read, because they will. What I've learned is that they will ask you about it, like especially if it's something in demand, they will ask you about. If you just let me explain. So if you list, look, this guy's from Canada. He worked for the Department of National Defense. If you list ITSG on your resume, if you listed any of these things on your resume, they will ask you in the interview. You will get an interview and they will ask you about it, and you need to be ready. And that's why I say don't lie on the resume. I don't recommend it. If you're serious about getting the interview, if you're going to get in there, I play to win. I think that's why my philosophy is like that. Is that I'm like, nah, I'm trying to get this job. So if once I get in there, I don't want to be caught with my pants down. So, and my man, security expert, who is no joke, says one of these two must be on your resume. So I hope this message finds you and you take action on it, because this right here is life changing. Awesome information. Over 700 applications, didn't yield a single solution. Wow, that's great. I hate hearing stories like that, because I have had the opposite happen. Another thing I would recommend you do, as that I've done that worked for me, is use more than one job site. Don't just use LinkedIn. Use, I don't know what's big in Canada, but use the top 10 job sites in Canada. You know what I mean? Like go to Google or Bing and type top 10 Canadian job sites, or probably Google. It's probably Google. That's another thing you can do, is just use Google Jobs. That it'll work. It's worked for me. Like that's why I tell people, because I've not been without a job. The U.S. has gone through a current shutdown. We went going through COVID, going through different administrations, all this dumb shit going on in the U.S. I've not been without a job, brother. I've not been without a job doing this stuff. So it's a great career path. But you just got to, I think that most people just don't know how to market themselves. And that's the name of the game, is you're marketing yourself. Think of it like that. You are marketing yourself. You are a brand, and you are marketing yourself so that other people can see you. So that said, what do the great brands do? They put themselves everywhere. You need to put yourself on Monster, on ZipRecruiter, on LinkedIn. I'm naming all the top popular job aggregators in the US, but I'm sure Canada has its own. You want to put yourself on the government sites on Canada. It's going to take you some time. It's going to take you some work. It's going to suck, right? But if you don't have a job, your job is to get a job and take a few hours out of your day. Hell, take all day. Go hardcore. At least a couple hours out of your day to do nothing but post information, updated information on your job. Even use AI to say, what I've done is I take my entire resume, upload it into resume. Now be mindful of privacy information. You don't want to put your personally identifiable information in there, yada, yada, yada. But you can use Genesis, Gemini. They call it Gemini now. You can use Gemini. You can use ChatGPT. You can use Anthropic. You can use Perplexity. Perplexity is dope. Upload your resume, right? You can just change your name and all your personal, don't put your real stuff in there. Upload it into your favorite AI. Do 2 if you want. Select deep research and and then ask it, say, listen, how can I make a better resume? That's it. Act as a 20-year resume expert with cybersecurity background. How can I make this resume better? I want to get a GRC position. I'm a Canadian. I know, and then give it some examples. I know that I need to know ISO 27001. I know that I need to have ITSG-33 on there. What else do I need? And it's going to blow your mind what it comes back with. It's going to come up with stuff that you didn't even think about. You're going to be like, oh, damn, yeah, that is good. Right? And if you want to give it even more reference, what you can do is feed it other people's dope ass resumes. Go to LinkedIn, copy other people's resume. This is some crazy shit. Like I'm only telling you stuff that I've done. Take other people's resume and be like, this is the dopest resume ever. This is a dope ass resume. It's on this is on the top 10 of LinkedIn. How can I make my resume look like this? Or is there anything I can do better than this? And feed your resume and that resume, or feed it a job. That even works better. I want to do this job right here. How can I make my resume fit this job requirement or description? That's another thing you could do. I've done it. It works. It works, man. Okay, that's enough of that, man. I went super far into that one. Thank you so much, security expert, for that. Thanks a lot, Larry. Thanks, Maestro, for your great information. Appreciate you. Let me see if there's any other things I missed before I let you guys go. I've been talking for like 2 hours straight. Before I let you guys go, you guys should know I've got the GRC RoadMap out there. It walks you through the NIST CSF. Included in that for a limited time only is I'm going to help you to create your own pathway to GRC, where take you from wherever you happen to be, whether it's an IT job and you want to get into GRC, or a whole nother career and you want to get into GRC. I'm going to work with you. It's $38 a month, right? And this is only for serious people. It's only for serious people, but you get a book that goes along with it, a workbook that walks you through all this stuff. I'm going to walk you through things that intimidate people, like writing a policy. I'm going to tell you how to write a policy from scratch or using AI, downloadable templates you can use to cheat your ass off to write that thing, hands-on stuff, and deep explanation of what GRC is and how you can position yourself to eventually get a GRC position. It's been life-changing for me. It's been something I can pivot into technical stuff or pivot back into management stuff. It's been very rewarding. It's fed my family for decades now. It's allowed me to travel the world. It's been amazing. It's allowed me to try businesses and invest in all kinds of stuff. I know I'm blessed. I know I'm doing better than a lot of Americans. I feel great about it, and that's why I try to help other people. How much is it? It's $38 a month. Mine is 30, if that's what you're asking. I'm not sure. But I work with you directly. If you're interested in this is something I've not done before, so I don't know how many people I can take. We're just trying this. I'm dipping my toe on this. So I can't say that I'm going to do this forever, but if you do get into it, it's got 7 hours of video. It's basically took a book that I wrote and I just made a whole video out of it, not just an audio, but a whole video out of it. So thank you guys so much. And Larry said, thanks for stopping in, everybody. He'll hit that like button and support the stream. Yeah, thank you, guys. Thank you, Larry. I appreciate you. Does it accept PayPal? Yes. Yes, it does. So hit that like button. Let me see if I got any other something that I missed here. Let me see here. They have a Canadian version of the NIST of the US RMF. Wow, I didn't know that. If someone buys the book, will he still have access to the online resource? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Let me see. There's actually two different books on the GRC roadmap. One is on Amazon. I can't. So once you put stuff on Amazon, you can't like advertise. You can't post it on your own site, which is weird. But um, I'm in the Select Amazon Select Pro. Anyway, so there's two different versions of the book. So if you bought it on Amazon, there's a different version of it that's actually in the GRC roadmap called the workbook. That it's expanded and stuff. But that's not the main. Like the main thing that you're gonna get is the video course that's gonna walk you through everything. It's 7 hours. It's 100 videos. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's NIST CSF. By the end of it, you will be able to explain to someone what NIST CSF is. You'll be able to. Somebody says, "What is NIST CSF?" You'll be able to rattle it off. I guarantee you. After that one, you will. I can't guarantee you'll automatically get a job or anything, because the way the market is, I can't predict how that's going to go. But I can tell you this: you will know NIST CSF after that if you go through that course. All right, guys. I think that's it. We've been talking for over 2. This is the longest one I've done in a long time. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Oh, before I go, Larry, we need to. What do you say about next week? We have some people on here. Anybody interested? Before I let you guys go, is there anybody interested in jumping on here and just talk? Look, there's no pressure. All you'll do is talk about your experience. You'll get on here, talk about your background, your experience. You don't have to show your face if you don't want to, but we will have to at least hear your voice. I will give you a link if you're interested. I will. Okay, I've got Maestro saying I am. Okay, awesome, man. Awesome. Anybody else? I want like at least 2 folks to jump on here. If you're interested, I will send you a link. Send me I need your email to send the contact information to. So hold on a second. I'm going to give you my contact information so you can send me your email. If you're interested in coming on, here's my email. Send me your email. contact@ConvoCourses. Next week, we're going to have a session where I'm going to talk to someone directly. If you're interested, email me, and then I will send you a link. Right after this, I'm going to start the next one over, and we'll just open topics. It'll be, I don't even know what we'll call it yet. Cybersecurity, GRC, professionals. I don't know. We'll come up with something. But if you're interested, send me an email, and I will send you an invite link that will be scheduled for next week, the 18th, Saturday at 12:30 Mountain Standard Time. And if something changes, I'll let you guys know in advance. Interested, email me, and we'll do this for next week. That way you can prep yourself and what you're gonna, and I'll give you maybe some questions to kind of jog your memory. And then we can also answer questions from people. We don't have to go 2 hours, right? We can just go 45 minutes or something and then jump off. No pressure. Just it's a conversation, right? We're just talking to one another about a common topic, something we like, cybersecurity. I would love to talk to you, Maestro, about Canada. I'm very interested. That'd be a great conversation to have. But yep. So I think that's it, guys. Appreciate you. Thanks for jumping in. I see I got a couple of people jumping into our community here. That's great. That's awesome. And I think with that, we are done. Thank you so much. I will see you guys next week, or I'll see you on our community. See you later. Thanks, Larry, for that donation, man. I appreciate you. We're gonna go ahead and set this thing up for next week for the 18th, I believe. We're gonna aim for 12:30, and we'll do like a conversation